What's up, guys? This is Chris with Major Hi-Fi, and today I'm talking about something that is as contentious as it is overly talked about, which is, do headphone cables matter? And a little more specifically, do they affect the sound? Hopefully my take on this is going to be a little more nuanced than what usually comes out of the bickering on this topic. So watch it to the end, because I'm going to start with the hard part first, which is no. Headphone cables are not going to affect the tone or the EQ of your sound, not in any significant way. There are hundreds of videos that go into the empirical data of this, on either side of the debate. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it concise. Check out this video over here. Basically, it's a guy who tests a bunch of different premium cables, compares them to a stock cable, and finds no notable differences. The only differences that he did find were either one, due to the margin of error within his own testing methods, or two, if they are actually there and they're not due to a margin of error, they're psychoacoustically insignificant. The differences had to be measured on a scale of 1/100th of a decibel. And you're not going to hear that. You're not going to hear a difference on that small of a scale. If you hear me say this and you say, well, I have golden ears, so, maybe you can't hear it, but with my okay. First of all, you probably don't have golden ears. This is a term that's been getting used way too much in the audiophile community. If I say you don't have golden ears, I will be right literally 99.99% of the time, because only 0.001% of the population has golden ears, aka perfect pitch. If you think that you have golden ears, you are a prime target for cable companies and audio companies in general that are basically trying to market snake oil. And the reason for this is because not only are they telling you what you want, which is, a gold crusted, silver, triple plated Balenciaga cable, but they're also telling you how and why you want it. That you're part of a small, exclusive, elite group of audio hobbyists that has these special golden ears. So in short, golden ears has become a very popular term, likely because of industries such as the headphone cable industry, where, there aren't really any significant differences, but in order to make you feel like you're hearing those differences, they're going to assert that you have golden ears, and they're going to make it seem really appealing to have, such a special ability. By the way, for the rare breed watching this that does have golden ears, these changes between cables still are not significant enough for even someone like you to hear them. So now that we have that out of the way, let's take a look at one of these crazy cables. This one is going for just about $2,000. Okay. And let's see what we got here. Superb conductivity, shielding, flexible and thin, but also very strong and extremely musical. It's what? Musical? You're selling me a $2,000 headphone cable, something that connects the headphones to the source, and you're telling me it's musical. This isn't to say that all cables are built equally. It's just that there are other things that you should be considering besides how musical a cable sounds. So I think the first thing that you should consider is just build quality. This is pretty intuitive. You can pick up a cable, and is it thin? Does it feel thick? Does it feel like your fingernail can cut it? Does it feel like your cat can chew on it for hours of entertainment? And then also, aside from just what you see on the outside and what you can feel, there's something else that you can't really test for, but it's still very important, which is how well soldered the internal wiring is to the actual jack. You can have a cable that's built of the rarest, most beautiful metals. None of it will matter if it's not soldered well to the jack. It'll just cut out on you if it's a bad soldering job. So then after build quality, which in my opinion is far and away the most important, you can have some like material considerations as far as malleability and ductility are concerned. That's just another way of saying how flexible a material is without breaking or taking damage. So like, for example, gold, silver, and copper, the most common materials in headphone cable wiring, they're all considered amongst the most malleable metals. So kind of hard to go wrong there. But if you really want to maximize in this department, your order of preference should be gold, then silver, then copper. Take that for what it is. Another consideration that seems reasonable to me would be how resistant it is to rust or tarnishing. A rusty cable is really very, very obvious that something is wrong with it. You don't need golden ears to know that. Basically, if a cable is rusting, it's turning the conductive material in the wiring into an altogether new non-conductive material through the process of oxidization. And you might start to get like a choppy signal. It'll cut in and out on you. Also, rust can lead to brittle points in the cable, which become break points, which means that your cable is kaput. Luckily, silver, gold, and copper are all fairly resistant to rust and tarnishing. However, gold and silver are more resistant than copper. So if this is important to you, you want to make sure that you have a cable that will never rust. It'll last you a really long time. Once again, the order of preference would be gold, silver, then copper. Maybe you noticed I didn't mention conductivity. That's just because over short and medium distances, that doesn't really matter as much. It matters in other electrical signals, but just for the purposes of medium range or short range audio, it doesn't really matter that much. So there are other aspects of it that aren't technical that, yes, are aesthetic, but it's also something a little more than just aesthetic. And it's something I would refer to as the sublime joy of cable shopping. And I can give you an example of that, which is that I've been listening a lot with the Eco Asgard OH5 IEM, and I found that the cable is pretty short. So when I'm on my commutes, I like to use a longer cable. But when I go back home, I like to use the original cable that it came with. And it's not because they sound any different. It's not because the other cable is too long or anything like that. It's just because I like it. I like the transparency of it. I like that with that transparency, you can see like the silver coating. I like the idea of kind of like matching the silver with like the lithium diaphragm. It doesn't make any difference in the sound. It's just kind of fun. It kind of reminds me of like collecting Pokemon cards. You get a rare one, put it in your card binder, and that's kind of it. Like, you look at it, you kind of like ogle over your whole collection, and you feel good about it. So that's something that I don't think anybody should feel embarrassed about. And instead of pretending like you're hearing some major difference, just experience that feeling for what it is. I mean, I'll give you an example. When I was really double checking myself to make sure that I wasn't hearing any difference when I was changing cables, I still ended up liking this one. This is just a Meze audio cable. It's braided, it's long, and why do I like it? It's not because it sounds different. It's because I like the idea of the audio signal flowing through it. It's got this like warm, woody color. It's got some nice like heft in my hand. It kind of gives an ethos to the audio signal that's flowing through it. And I think that's a good enough reason to go with a cable, just because you like the idea of the sound being inside of it, if that makes sense. Or also just because you like the way it looks, but I'm just giving you an example of how there is like a little something extra on top of it, besides just looks or technical factors. It's how it makes you feel. So honestly, pick whatever cable you want. Make sure it's built well. Make sure, it's thick enough. Make sure it's durable. But most of all, just make sure you like it. And who cares why you like it if if it's good enough for you, just go with it. Anyway, thank you for watching. This is Chris with Major Hi-Fi. If you want to see more videos and reviews, remember to like and subscribe. You can click the link below, and I'll see you next time.